Hey guys, welcome to today's In China. You must have heard recent Hong Kong anti-extradition bill protest. In this video, I want to talk about why so many Chinese people strongly oppose this protest. It's not a surprise that many people in mainland China oppose this protest, right? What is surprising is that many Western-educated Chinese people who are supposed to be able to see the global internet and know the true story also oppose this protest. Why is that? Shouldn't they support the freedom of speech? First of all, I'm gonna put my conclusions here. I think there are three reasons why many in China, including some Hong Kong residents, oppose this protest. Hong Kong's economic miracle has lost its magic already, so the attitude of some Chinese people towards Hong Kong has changed a lot. Secondly, some Hong Kong residents have some hatred towards mainlanders, which has increased hostility. Lastly, Chinese government has been putting economic growth in front of everything for many years, and I believe this concept has assimilated part of the Hong Kong residents, and I'm going to explain it one by one. We can notice that the attitude of many Chinese people towards Hong Kong is a big reverse. Take me as an example. During the years as I grew up, I am aware that Hong Kong is part of my country, but it seems like a totally different kind of place. It's rich, it's international, mysterious, and people speak English there, and they can express everything they want. When I was in university, there was a girl from Hong Kong, and everyone else was like, wow, she is so fashionable, she's so different from us. So you see, we have kind of admiration to Hong Kong and Hong Kong people. However, things are totally different now. As China becomes the new superpower and megacities like Beijing, Shanghai, and Shenzhen are becoming international finance centers. So mainlanders start to realize that not all Hong Kong residents live a fancy life as they imagined. Hong Kong is no longer a mysterious land, and mainlanders are losing interest in Hong Kong's model of free borders and free speech. On the other hand, investment and consumption from mainland China is playing a more and more important role in Hong Kong economy, and Hong Kong retailers increasingly rely on mainland tourists who are crazy for luxury goods. So many mainlanders start to think that Hong Kong cannot be so rich without mainland China. So when Hong Kong breaks out such a protest, their behavior are much like bite the hand that feeds you in the eyes of mainlanders. Of course, in my opinion, it is undeniable that Hong Kong also greatly helped the mainland, especially at the beginning of reform and opening up. A lot of foreign capital was from Hong Kong. Let's move to the second reason. Although Hong Kong is part of China, many people there don't identify themselves as Chinese. Actually, Hong Kong residents are really contradictory. On one hand, they benefit from and rely on the consumption and tourism from mainland, but on the other hand, they feel like they are being invaded and mainlanders are intruders. So mainland visitors are mistreated at times, which has increased the hostility. They have stereotypes of mainlanders, some of which are true, such as Chinese rich people, especially mainlanders, like to buy houses everywhere, which will certainly cause problems for local people. Anyway, there is resentment on both sides. To mainlanders, Hong Kong people who take part in the protests are ungrateful troublemakers. The last reason is about Hong Kong residents themselves. During the past few years, the most important job of Chinese authority is to catch up in economy. So the economic interest comes in first in most cases, and I think it must have influenced the people in Hong Kong because they are also benefiting from Chinese economic growth. So many of them may start to think that freedom cannot fill stomachs anyway. You know, society of Hong Kong is much more like that of Western countries in some aspects. People always like to challenge the government. But nowadays, many Hong Kong residents are becoming more practical. They still don't like mainlanders, but they may think, why bother to take the streets? What if the protests hurt the economy and make everyone's life miserable? Why don't you just spend more time working to rebuild the city? Why can't you just make your silent money for mainlanders while resent them at the same time? In a word, they don't want to cause any trouble to influence the economy and their standard of living. Economic interest comes first. This concept is taking a deep root in Hong Kong, even though they have access to international voice and Western education. I saw some Western presses say China model is economic growth at the cost of individual rights. Speaking of individual rights, sometimes I read news about North Korea and I feel sad for its people because they seem like living in a feudal society. Then I start to think that what if they live more happily than we do? What if the rights we speak highly of doesn't mean anything to them at all? What kind of standpoint I have to see they are sad? But I still cannot resist that sense of superiority. Does the same thing happen when we talk about China? Okay, that's it for today. See you next week.